keychains with the lunch thing.
I just love these things.
It's the little thing that entertain me. That might be good.
I feel like.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Welcome to the IMU Board of Trustees of Electric, Water, and Communication Utility meeting. Tonight is October 24th. Jackie, will you please take roll call?
Board Member Selgrade,
Present.
White,
Here.
Smith,
Present.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voights.
Yes.
Thank you. If we have anyone to present public comment, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. Guess we have no public comment. Let's move to consent agenda. Approval of the claims for October 24th. Any questions or comments regarding what was sent?
So we sent $10,000 check for the audit. Do you have any preliminary information or how's that process going?
We got some preliminary information from him, excuse me, the week that he was on site, we were provided that, which was in our view good because it had been much later in the years past, but we have preliminary stuff. He did email us today. He is sending it through the quality control process. So once they get done with their on-site process and their comments and such, they send it to a peer group that does another review of it, a quality control review, and it's in that stage of the process.
Okay.
We are asking to have that presented on November 28th, that meeting. It could possibly be the December 12th meeting, but we are planning some budget discussion for the December meeting, so we're hoping to get.
No alarms or bells or anything?
Probably have to start in
No.
line.
Nothing? Okay.
He shared some preliminary stuff, but no.
Okay.
Any other questions? How about the minutes from last week? Questions, concerns, comments?
For the consent agenda items.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved for the consent agenda. Moving ahead to the electric utility action items.
Sure. Terminate, the first one up is kind of talk about controls and what to do that process. We're at the point now we're ready to go out to bid. Jared, on the engineering will be here to answer any questions that you have in reference to the project, but like I say, our packets,
We did, yeah.
It was in.
110 pages or something
Yes.
like that. I think it was.
It's very lengthy. It has been reviewed by our attorney and no issue with the attorney.
So any high points you'd want to call out in that?
It's just a lot of stuff that they're over controls, a lot of technical stuff.
There was a lot.
I thought maybe you might have read
Not the whole thing, but I definitely glanced over it. Yeah.
anything.
There were two dates in there. One of them was like coming up right quick. Then there was another date that was like the latter part of next year.
So the project starts bidding, we'll do bids, and then in December we'll bring back the bids and approve. We award the contract. We get it out. And then the project actually won't be in until next fall. It gives us time to get things ordered and ready to go.
Oh, so that first window was just bid.
Yep, bid and get us on
Okay,
the schedule type deal.
I misunderstood that.
All of this was only for the bid.
To go out for bids.
Wow.
Well, it's the documents for them to bid on this.
Right.
Yeah, it's all.
There's quite a bit of stuff.
They'll use that for construction as well.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? We need a first and second motion on a resolution setting public hearing and letting dates for the turbinate control replacement project.
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, will you take roll call, please?
Board Member Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voights,
Yes.
Selgrade,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
Appreciate that. I will just mention, I know some of you probably don't know Jared, we talked about Al Powers, D&E. Jared is now one of the owners of D&E Engineering, as Al was stepping away for. So at least you put a name to the face that we talked about here, probably more than we talked about Al.
So, what was Stuart's last name?
Klein.
Klein. Thank you.
And we've worked with Jared's dad for several years. He's been part of the.
Isn't that what you always like to hear is that, yeah.
I rode the
Okay.
bus with him.
Uh-oh, were you a good kid?
He was younger.
Okay,
All
thanks. It was nice to meet you, Jared. Thanks for coming.
The next thing we have is consideration for purchase of 2022 Chevy Colorado to trade in our 2015 Equinox that we're in need of trading. We did look at different options out there, electric, flex fuel, that type of thing. See what our actual needs were for this vehicle. Both those first two, electric and flex fuel, finding those right now, it's 2 years plus out, it's a little bigger vehicle. But at the same time, we are going from an Equinox to a small pickup, same size and engine and between the both. But our problem is this vehicle is not only used for meter reading, we also use it for inventory, for going to get material we need to, taking personal protective equipment like beams to be inspected, running parts. And then also this person, on a day-to-day basis, we change 600 to 700 meters out a year. And on a day-to-day basis, so when they go out, they get out there to find out they need a 5-foot step ladder. If it's not with them, they gotta turn around, go back, get a ladder, and another truck, come back. So that we thought, with it being available, this would be our best option.
So there is some additional equipment you'll need to purchase to
We will.
complement the vehicle.
Yep, we will. One thing we're gonna do with winter coming up, we're gonna try and install some of that stuff in-house, like the lights and any kind of mud flaps, that type of thing like that.
Other questions or discussion?
Motion approved. Oh, I'm sorry.
I need a first and second motion on the approval of the purchase of a 22 Chevrolet Colorado and trade-in of a 2015 Equinox of the electric department.
So
I'll just put this. All in favor?
I,
I thought that was a resolution.
And that is the top one.
oh, is this resolution?
What's that?
We're gonna let one from off, right?
Yes.
it's the only one available.
That's, well, they're both
Well, there are two available.
Yeah.
Off
there's two
rounds that are
available. It was just.
I thought the other one was not. I misunderstood.
Carl.
There was one that was not.
Okay.
There was one not. Okay. Both approved. How about other informational items?
So some great news, Tyler Smith has officially completed his apprenticeship program and is now one of the tournament boards. So we're down to over up to 8 journeymen and 2 apprentices, which the newest apprentice started for us a week ago Monday, Matt Dahl. He's now enrolled in the program, in that role.
Congratulations to Tyler.
Yeah, for sure.
And how are we sitting then as far as linemen in general? I know there was a point in time where we were a little worried once upon a time.
Yeah, with our ratio of alignment, their apprentices in 1-to-1, so now we're 8 to 2.
We feel good about that.
Well, there's a lot. A lot better shape now as far as all of it.
What about Matt's training then? Do you have that all lined up?
Match training, we've already enrolled him into the program. He's going on that. He's going to be one of the first one with the CDL, new CDL regulations out there. That's not as simple as running down here and taking some tests and then signing up to take the test or say, hey, I want to do a driving test. No, it's a lot lengthier process. You got to actually send somebody to do some driving school type deal with them and get signed off. But we got some options. I did some investigation. We'll see how it goes, but we got to get him through the point of taking some written tests, getting his learner's permit, and then from there, the rest of it goes on. So what used to take us maybe 30, 60 days, it's probably gonna take us 6+ months to get through. It's definitely different.
So then do the rest of the guys have to take anything to upgrade theirs?
No,
No.
they're all
Grandfathered in.
on that, so yeah, everybody else is good to go. I have no worries about Matt's been in around trucks, diesels. That was his previous, he was around diesels and electronics side of it. Our Title V, which is our emissions, we, every 5 years, we have to do renewal through the DNR. That has been filed that today and got back, we're good to go on it. Boulder Regulator, we talked about this a little bit, for East Iowa Boulder, we've been waiting on that part to come in for several months. It's in now. We'll be getting that changed out, possibly this week. If not, it'll be 2 weeks after that. We get the down here to assist with that. And then also in there, as part of this process, remember we had breaker that burn up out there that we put it in. And 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, we had one rebuilt and they tried to do style insulator and actually flashed and burned. But we decided we're not using those type of insulators and getting the some new style and went back to the old style. And then that one's worked there ever since, and that been really good. So we'll be looking at rebuilding this breaker. It needs exercise and needs changed out, which is fine. So we're hopeful once we get this older breaker replaced, then we take that side of the substation down. And get this thing sent out. Other than that,
Nothing's going on.
we got the day-to-day, it's busy, definitely, all the developments and such, they're trying to see the first time.
Okay, thank you. Next, water utility information.
Yeah, we took the Simpson Water Tower down there 10 days ago for AT&T through our contract with them. They increased our lease and put on some new antennas, and in the process, they had to weld. So I had to paint inside and outside of the tower. We took it down. McGuire Iron had the contract with them. They did the inspection and did the painting. And we've seen a couple spots for us that they touched up while they were there. Otherwise, the tank looked good. We had it down in 2016 and did some touch-up work on it then. And since then, none of the sites, pictures were taken, everything looked good.
How
So-
old is that?
That's what was put in 1965. And we've sandblasted and repainted it inside and out, I think now 8 times. So we've usually, 15 years or so is a pretty good match because our water, it's just the water and at the top of the tower is what takes the beating because it gets cold and the ice forms. And it hits against wood because it's bringing in water and it's moving. That's what gives us our paint chipping off and stuff and the outside weather same way. But otherwise, that looked good. We were scheduled to have our Hillcrest Tower, the scuba divers from Washington come in. They had an issue with some staff, so they sent a letter to us and Warren Rural Water because they were going to do their towers at the same time as combined. We're in the neighborhood. Here's our bid for you if you like this, which was a good bid. And so that'll be next spring that they'll come in and we'll have that. They, like I say, put the gear on and mask and you can actually watch them in the van vacuuming the inside of the tank out and everything. It's pretty cool.
Is there any problem with the delay?
No. The last time they were in there, we had video taken. They have a camera on their head and they talk the whole time and tell you, here's the, the one scene that looks great. We had that painted in 2014. So, it's going on 8-9 years now. So last time was in 17. We had it back and cleaned and stuff. So otherwise, that's looking good. Monday, we had a main break and there were so many utilities in our way, we actually had to call the sewer department and they came out with their big vac. And with their big vac and our vac, we were able to back down and fix the main break. We had no way, we had to dig it wider and bigger because we couldn't put a protected cage in. So we had to bring the sides down. It was a lengthy process for us, but that's just kind of getting the way it is.
Where's it at? Where was that?
It was on East Franklin between 8th Street and 9th Street. 1012 East Franklin. The guys bought that. Just one of those deals where that sometimes those things happen. So, and we had 4 more this week service lines we called people. This weather and affecting the lines doesn't make a difference if the house is 50 years old or 5 years old or 30 years there's an array of houses in different parts of town. So it's one of those things where, you know, that's quite a gouge to a middle class, so person that have to, you know, fix that. And the last one, they were very nervous because they could hear it on a newer home underneath, they were down the basement, you know, and they were afraid that if they left, the sump pump would keep up. And so that got called in as an emergency locate. We were going after it. Well, today, they pulled today, so tomorrow. It is kind of a sign of the times there. Otherwise, like Mike said, everybody's wanting us to be there yesterday. A lot of them each day pretty busy.
Everybody's afraid of what's coming.
Yeah, we don't like talking
The
about
W
it.
word. Okay,
Where are we at on water levels?
Those haven't changed. We've been getting drawdowns every week, you know, try to stay on top of it. Like I say, talk with Northway Well, who does our work, and we're okay. Emergencies are coming ahead of us, but they think they can come there and take it down and tweak like I say, put another stage on the pump and the motor and lower it down 40 feet. They think, because you know, we're 2,500 foot deep and the water comes up to 500 foot. But we've got a lot of water. We just get that drawdown. We gotta have that. We gotta have the water above the pump motor. So it's happening all around. It's just one of those things too. Nothing new to report on that. But I will as soon as they get in. I'll let you know. That's all I got.
all right, thanks, Lou. Communication utility.
We'll talk
Oh,
about the
yes,
rates here real quick. Before you is kind of some of our initial thought process on what the budget or what rates will look like for water. Ultimately, what we have or our proposal for the fiscal 2024 year is a rate increase that's similar to what we saw last year. We still are seeing pretty significant construction related inflationary pressures. We have that continuing for another year. You'll see the plant, anything construction related, we put a 10% inflationary metric on. The administrative stuff and the transfer to capital is 3%. And what this gets us, what we're looking for is to make some progress. And for fiscal year 2024, even with those inflationary pressures, we'd have, I'll draw your attention down to the bottom here at the CIP, that gray shaded block of $117,000. We're looking at making progress, or what that would represent is another block of water main. And certainly that increase year over year, going from the $1.1 million that we'll be spending this year to the 1.2, almost 1.3 next year, that certainly won't all be water main, at least in the short term. Our plant does have some needs, but what it is creating is a funding mechanism for an increasing amount of capital year over year. And so for the next 2 years, like I said, we're looking at probably a similar rate as last year. And then, for 2025, that may be like a 5% increase. In this, day and age, those inflationary pressures are real. So this is subject to a lot of variation, and certainly going much beyond that, 2 years out. It starts to get a little more unpredictable, but directionally, I think we're to the point of, discussion with you, and this is really meant to be a discussion starter. So take a look at it over, and I can answer specific questions you may have, on a one-on-one, but we are expecting another year of pretty significant inflation, and then hopefully that slows to a more normal thereafter. But looking to create a year-over-year differential of about $100,000 in capital.
So in the neighboring communities with water utility, do you think they'll see a similar
Absolutely.
process?
Yeah, Lori, I can get that name study up too and get your refresher to you.
It's not out yet.
Well, I mean, from last year, and I talked to different superintendents, and the ones that didn't do the increases like this year or last year, did them the previous years. You know,
So
and
we
I
may be
couldn't-
a little bit behind.
we are, yeah, well, 11 years. We didn't have an increase for 11 years. We're definitely behind it. That's not, we don't need to do a big catch up, but we just want
We're
to
trying to get into.
get into it. And a lot of communities are doing the same thing, you know. I'm saying that tonight.
Yeah, that is your turn today. isn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
What's this existing EL debt service? It looks like it's being removed moving forward.
Yeah, this year is the last year that water will have to make any payments to the electric for an interfund loan that happened 10, 15 years ago. So water
We've
is
used the
no
electric
longer
department
into
as a
debt.
funding mechanism
Okay.
Because they haven't.
So this takes you completely out of debt after that payment?
Yep.
Just a couple spreadsheet questions. So in that gray section, the increase in CIP, that 117,000, I'm looking at the two numbers above, and the difference between those is not 117,000, it's more like 82,000.
So it's an increase from the year before. In yellow, the 1174, the difference between 1174 and 1291, 400.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so if that's the case, then the transfer out of capital up above is 1,291,000. And the revenue in is 1,209,000.
Yeah, those are supposed to be tied up, and that 117 is really kind of inclusive of all the expenses. And I can verify that. That looks like it was just a,
I think you're right, though. I think it's the difference from the prior year.
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
yeah, and it should be, since the transfer in and out are an in and an out, that should just be a net zero. And I can clean that up. It's net of everything, the revenues less the expenses above it,
Okay.
or what for those yet.
And then up under on the overhead line, so we're decreasing quite significantly, 343, 254, 161. And it actually goes, we have a negative expense.
Yeah, it's dropping down. This, for next year, at least that's a little more certain, or well, that's our proposed, our discussion with the city, some of those interfund transfers or where we'll go to kind of equalize our debt. That is preliminary, at least at this point. But we are expected to see a significant decrease, and that's mostly the funding of the customer service center that's offset by the city's payments.
So that's what's making the 254.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Where are you at?
the future years are just.
We're in 2027.
Yeah, and
Overhead.
And then 26 to 27 is probably an issue there, but we're trying to take some, we'll probably not be able to get all of that change all at once in 1 year, so we're taking it over a couple of years. And 26 to 27, I probably should have stop that decrease.
Yes.
But
So then it'll flatten out around 161,000.
yeah,
I do now, yeah. I was following your lines.
So the metric we do use is $100,000 per block of
Yeah,
infrastructure.
and some blocks would be less, but some are more,
Yeah.
depending on how many house taps, depending on what's in the way, that kind of
So
thing.
that's a good average number. that you use
Yeah,
for
that's
planning.
what we've been kind of going on. Seemed like the last 2 or 3 bids have been, right, they're pretty close to that. And of course, streets get much higher, but that's because of how crowded it is and stuff. that date.
What's our current going in one block each year? And that's cumulative as it adds up here. So 1 year we get one, then we get another. So it's a total of 2 additional from current more. What does this speed us up? How fast?
It'll get us up to, it'll take about $1 million a block, or sorry, $1 million a mile. It's kind of the number we're using for larger projects. And so there'll always be, the plant now is 25 years old, and there'll always be some maintenance that's due to that plant. But we're looking to get to that $1 million within the next few years to start getting closer to a mile and increase that by a block. That should be a comfortable additional, project. And at some point, we'll decide if project management wise, we need some help, but our ultimate target is to be getting a mile done a year in water main projects with the remainder on maintenance projects. And that will, the funding direction gets us there probably in 3 or 4 years, depending on what specifically the plant needs and what those bids come back.
How many blocks make a mile?
It's 5,000 and 20 feet. So the average block is 420. So you're talking about 14 blocks a mile. Right in there. 13, 14, depending on the plant.
So I guess the question is this going to get us where we want to be
Quicker?
as far as our
Well, our ultimate
goals are
goal,
concerned.
we set that for long range, but like Chris was saying, now this year alone, we're gonna spend almost 250,000 on the SCADA upgrades, the media filter upgrades.
And I understand all that. It's a simple question. Is this going to get us where we need to be according to our plan?
Or
We're
is this
pretty
putting us
confident this
ahead?
will be
Fast
pretty
enough
good.
pace.
This is going to get there? Okay.
This won't solve us, this won't solve everything.
No, I get that, but we've got
Yeah,
there was a 10-year goal we had in mind, didn't we?
yeah.
And I just want to make sure that we're going
That's
to
what we talked
hit
about
that
in our
goal.
plan.
So are we gonna hit the goal or are we gonna
We're
beat
gonna
the
be
goal with
close.
this?
We're gonna be.
With
close.
this increase? Is that
Well-
beating the goal? Is that why we're increasing to meet the goal that we set before that we're
Yes.
not able to meet?
Yeah,
Right.
those
Part of the
increases
challenge
are.
when we talked about this originally, Don, we hadn't had an increase in 11 years.
Yeah.
And so the cost of everything was going up, but we were not.
Oh, no, I get it. I'm just looking at the economy and everything else that's going on right now, the other potential increases going on from other departments and stuff. And you hit everything. It's just seems like potentially the wrong time.
You know what,
But if
Dom?
we don't do something, then we're in trouble too.
Well, yeah, no, does it have to be this amount? Or,
Nothing, no, this, like Chris said, this is the first line of discussion. Obviously, we definitely know we need an increase. We're, we just gotta get the discussion started and find out where we can be,
The other thing Chris and I talked about is it's likely the sewer will have an increase.
yes.
And so we need to make sure we understand what the implications of that are as well.
Yeah, and that will certainly play a role, I think, in your discussion or decision making. This is kind of a proposal, certainly, larger increases closer to the date are more meaningful in getting us, projects or progress in the future. And so if, that type of rate increase isn't palatable for the, on the trustees, I think we could work with some amount, but that will, there will be long-term consequences. And if we don't do it now, if we're gonna get there and it needs to be spent eventually, it'll mean larger increases in the out years. And, that's certainly a board decision if, you guys in discussion with the council and your view of the environmental effects or what's going on in the world, we can accommodate, and I think we can make progress. It's just helpful to start more sooner that'll get us closer to the goal if we.
I don't think we're questioning the numbers, Chris. I think our question is just, is this gonna get us where we need to be? And
It's gonna
if it's gonna
close.
be close, and then we'll just need to monitor it and
Yeah.
go forward.
So will we know, in your discussions with Ben, will we know what their increase will be before we make a decision?
I don't know what they're, where they are in that. I think they've been talking and doing the work and they're having those internal discussions. I don't know that necessarily brought anything before council to where, we can make concrete decisions around.
Well,
But
I
what
was
they
just
need, what they
you
need
know,
to plays a role.
what they were
But we
thinking.
also can't allow that to, I mean, we had stuff that we know we have to get done,
Right.
so.
I understand that, but it would be good to know, how much of an increase the sewer will be too.
I think to Dom's point, it's how much do we do all at one time? And so just understanding it and messaging will be important.
And then one other
And
thing
that's
you
kinda what I
said
was getting
that
at.
really wasn't touched upon. And correct me if I misheard you on this, but you said as these increase, there may be need for an additional project manager.
Certainly for all of these, we don't hire an engineer. Lou takes the construction firm. Lou kind of handles all the construction management and
Who's got P, doesn't
Well, it's project management. I mean, that's,
yeah,
not-
and I think, I think I'm confident that Lou can handle more.
but then,
And there'll get
if
to be
we
a
have to
time
hire-
where all he's doing is project management and we can't have that. And so,
no, so I guess what I'm going with is we're talking here, increase, more work. We can get more done, but what we didn't say was what if we have to promote someone or if we have to hire someone additional to support that additional work that we're saying we want to do. We just lost a block.
Right. Well, here's another thing too, Dom. We will be working with the city on some of their projects which are coming up. Like I was saying, we get, those 13, and 9 of them were coincided with city projects. That's gonna continue. That we'll have to pay our share of the engineer.
Yeah.
On those bigger projects, similar to what we've got going on West Boston and the streets. So I don't see that changing.
Yeah.
So.
and I don't see that the block increase every year, let's say for the next 5 years. I don't think this is where we're gonna run into this problem in the short term. But we get out and we're increasing our construction year 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are more where I have the questions. I don't think, we're hitting Lou's limits. In any one year, I think we can handle that, but there will be a time someday when we're doing this, or Lou's handling this exclusively, that we may need to consider that. Probably not in this 5-year block, but
If I'm doing it correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but first year we're 117, that's one block-ish. Next year we have our one block that we're still getting because we're increased again to that 115. So now we're at 3 blocks, then we're at 6 additional blocks from what we're doing right now by the 3rd year.
Yeah.
That's.
That's
That's the goal.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by workload. It's increasing quickly in a short period of time. If you're saying he's pretty busy on it now, I'm trying to just think through the potential of, are there only cost increase? Is it only going towards additional work or is it going to require additional resources?
We were gonna definitely, like I say, we'll be spending our share of, because some of these blocks, I know from the city budget.
I mean, do we need another Lou? Is what I'm saying.
No, we don't.
Will we?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying, in this time frame, I don't think so, because we got these city projects, we're kind of locked in with them. So we'll be paying engineering.
Kind of the benefit is that's a shared kind of commodity. at
Shared,
that
yeah.
point,
Okay.
Because we're doing the work together.
Right, and we'll continue to do that, so,
No, and I think that's outstanding. That's without a doubt the correct way to go in this.
okay.
And I mean, to your point, that's a future consideration. I don't think that shows up on this paper. But these are relatively aggressive, increases. And someday we're gonna have to take that hit where next year we're just gonna have to hire on an additional resource and not make that additional block. Not in the short term. It's certainly a someday consideration.
And I don't want to belabor this point, which we might have already passed that point. But am I correct to assume that adding another block doesn't necessarily add a lot of time? It's when we add another project. of
The big project.
2, 3, or 4 blocks at a time.
And we're doing 5 and 6 blocks like on West Boston, my guys have been out there a lot of hours because they had to be, and myself, on different things that they called us on. And, and streetscape same way. We have to be there, when there's issues, so.
So what kind of timing are you looking at to bring this forward? How much time do we have time to absorb this, to think about it, ask other questions?
I think the big, or where we want to get locked down is on the CIP. We're gonna have that discussion in December. So this is probably a fluid and more of a discussion document as we look at December and we make those CIP decisions and finalize those and, kind of get the trustees' blessings. That's really when this becomes real, is how we need to pay for those CIP.
And another point too, we had that 6% increase last year, and didn't get any calls. So I think that was pretty, but we had it out there, the first increase in 11 years, that kind of thing, and it was just understand. So I think that.
But I think if we'd be kidding ourselves in this climate, I think we wouldn't get any calls for a second increase. I mean, it's just a tough time for people right now.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and we're not the only thing that's with the potential increase.
Yeah, and I'd say the time frame, like we thought, it would definitely be in the spring, kind of, we'd like to do it when there possibly isn't any.
I was just really trying to understand, let's take this information away, give it some thought, see what questions you have for Chris and Lou, and we'll have this back at the table again to talk through.
Yeah, this is kind of
Preliminary.
and the discussion starter till we really lock in that CIP. And that's when we'll have hard numbers and
I'm going to keep this
have those
moving
decisions.
if there are no immediate questions that we haven't already hit. Moving on to, or were there other water
Nope.
topics? Moving on to the communication utility.
All right, before you, first of all, Kurt is gone at a much needed vacation, so we are nearly back at full staff as soon as Kurt returns from vacation. So progress on that front. Before you is the Pella Fiber Transport Network discussion, and I'll kind of, all of these as a discussion, I'll talk about as one.
Should I
We
open the
are-
public hearing first, or you want to talk about that?
I'll talk a little bit about there and we'll open that. Throughout this process, we had a lot of good bids, and those bids ranged from Kramer Construction at $1.8 million to there was a number of $2.6 million, $2.7 million. So the bids came back favorable. There was 2 really competitive bids at that $1.8 million range. The engineer's estimate was 2.354. So a considerable savings over that. I think Kramer came in aggressive and certainly will benefit financially from that. What you're doing for a public hearing is we're kind of can take this discussion, and your decision isn't final and official. It's more of a recommendation and handing to Pella Council. Both entities have to okay this firmly to go forward. By all indications, they're happy and excited with this favorable bid. So
Have history on Kramer, have we worked with them in the past?
that I don't know specifically on fiber projects. They haven't. bid or been at a number of our previous project openings, and I mean, part of Kramer's aggressiveness is, I think in the last 3 bid openings that they've done for IU, they've been second place. So they came in a little harder trying to get into first place to have that low bid. The engineers have worked with them, and I think a number of the firms here like are well represented, and I think with equality, Kramer is certainly local and in the area, and
Where are they out of? Wisconsin.
yeah, Wisconsin.
I tried to do a little homework on it because I was just, and they, I mean, they appear to be,
I mean, now open the public hearing on the matter of the adoption of plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for construction of the Pella Fiber Transport Network West to IMU. Anyone wanting to speak at the matter, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Okay, having no one present, we will close the public hearing now. We need a first and second motion on the resolution adopting the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost.
so, second.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
So if I recall on this, that the original project was estimated at 3.2 million, and our portion was gonna be 1.6. I had that 1.6 stuck in my head. Is that not accurate?
It was a little bit less than, a little bit less than 3.2. The estimate, there was financing costs and pay down interest in that. So I think we were expected to be at our portion of 1.4.
Okay, and we're really at 900,000,
No,
right?
900,000.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that.
Other questions?
But we still have to take out the resolution for the amount that we previously estimated.
On the
Correct.
debt, we've already done that resolution.
Yep, all right.
Yeah, we've already taken up the debt, but obviously we're not going to spend it
Just for clarity.
Yeah.
Want to get that out there.
Jackie, would you-
But question, my recollection was that there were some things prohibiting us from prepaying until a certain period of time.
Yeah, we have a 6-year where we can't prepay any of that debt. We can use that for other equipment related costs. As we go forward and this becomes, we can certainly have that discussion.
Do we have to draw the full amount?
We do have to draw the full amount. And we have to spend it on similar construction projects.
Has to stay fiber.
Yes. Yeah, the fiber revenue notes guaranteed by the fiber rates.
Do another loan. The water department or.
There's just getting out of debt.
Well, I'm just thinking through that's what, 600,000.
Yeah, but fiber is also at this point in time, they don't have any cash. So it's, I don't know that they're in a position financially. to
Well, I'm just
borrow.
saying, if we have 600,000, it wasn't expected for anything, because we were going to use it for something else.
400,000.
Yeah.
All right, 400,000. What's, we've got to spend it, or we should find something to do with it rather than let it sit accruing 0.1% interest for.
Well, I think what Chris is saying was we use that on other projects,
Fiber really.
fiber related projects.
Fiber related project, and yeah, those may be, equipment upgrades. We talked about, what the future holds on, GPON and going with 10 gig and the cards and the infrastructure required on that. There are a number of projects that could fit.
And it wouldn't take long to use that kind of money.
Yeah, when some of our core routers are $250,000 a piece, $400,000 doesn't buy 2 of them. So, the likely result is we'll do some more related infrastructure upgrades. planning on having new equipment that are heading towards, well, we'll probably mirror that equipment and make those same purchases through our Des Moines route, upgrade those to mirror amount and items like that with those core routing equipment. I mean, not tough to spend that kind of money, just
No, I
upgrade
just,
those.
if we had, I'm just curious, like where the budget was before for that type of stuff that you're talking about. Because it wasn't planned on, right? That extra money wasn't planned on, but this extra work may have been planned. The extra purchases of the portion for the Des Moines and everything like that. And I just want to make sure we're thinking through like spending things for the future, not just because it's there.
Yeah, those were all in I mean, there's two core spending areas. We have the consumer equipment that we'll probably have to start cycling through. That was out in a couple of years or progressed over a couple of years.
So
and in
pull
2 years,
things-
we
So
would
pull
have probably,
things in.
yeah,
Okay.
we probably would have done that 2 years out and 3 years out, probably move them all back, a year and, start those upgrades a little quicker.
Okay, I have a first and second on the table. Jackie, will you take roll call, please?
Board Member Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight,
Yes.
Selgrade,
Yes.
White.
Yes. Resolution adopted, approved. Need a first and second motion to receive and file the City of Pala's report of the bids received for the construction of certain public improvements described in general as the Pella Fiber Transport Network West to IMU. Discussion. Kurt's usually going to give us the backdrop on these, so I don't know how much we've talked about all of this.
Well, yeah, we knew it was all coming.
Yeah, again, this is just receiving that report. The bids came back favorable, so.
I make a motion to approve.
Perfect.
Is there an actual action on that one?
Yeah, you just have to receive and file it.
Yeah,
No action, I don't think.
So it's just a voice.
Yeah, you
voice
have, yep, voice vote, yeah.
vote. All in favor, I have a first and second.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's approved. This is a night for Kurt to be gone. I need a first and second motion on a resolution consenting to the City of Pala's making of award of construction contract.
Second.
Jackie, will you take roll call, please?
Board Member Selgrade,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Motion approved. And I need a first and second motion on a resolution approving construction contract and bond for the construction of the Pella Fiber Transport Network West to IMU.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, I have to do a roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Board Member Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight,
Yes.
Selgrade,
Yes.
White.
Yes. Motion approved. Okay. Anything else in the communications?
Yep, that is it.
Combined electric, water, and communication action items. I know the last time Alicia had shared the CSR report. I know we didn't add that to the agenda tonight, but we hadn't all gotten it, but the email changed. Is there anything, Alicia, you maybe want to talk to us about?
I just gave you a copy of kind of what I've been working on. Can't really see it very well, small, so I'll work on getting that bigger, but
It was a test for all of us to see if we could.
Yeah. I'm just, trying to get your feedback on if this is something that you guys like, or you want something different. I just did it by dates for the month of August. It just shows you, where our calls, what category they fall into. So you can see that a majority of our calls are for payments. And then our next one, in this month happens to be billing questions. And that can range from, they call in and say, what is my budget billing? Why are what are my uses? What are the charges for? Just different things on their bill for the billing questions.
Alicia, on the billing question, is it is it common that they just call to get information about why it is what it is? Or would we ever change that? I mean, did we find errors in what they've been charged?
No. not
It's usually more of an explanation.
Yes, yeah, it's just kind of, some people just don't look at their bill, very closely, so they're just wondering, oh my goodness, it's $400.
Or they
Why?
don't look at it often enough then.
Right, so then we go through, we kind of break it down for them a little bit more and what it is. And then, so what it is, it just shows the percentages on the graph and kind of, like I said, the most of them are the credit cards, ACH payments. So I don't know if there's anything you wanted to see differently, or, I can do it just semi-annually if you want, or if you want a different chart, or.
I think this basic question, the week of 8/15 through 8/19, the percentage for ACH payments is 201%.
Yep, so
How does
basically,
that, I'm just
the
like,
20th is our. the
well,
20th
I'm just more curious on the percentages,
Why is
now
it
we're above
200?
100%.
Oh, I can tell you that, on that week. That might be an error, actually, maybe on that.
But
Well,
that is your billing, that is your.
just those
weekly.
three middle ones all are above
Yeah, above
100%.
100.
There's several of them.
Yeah, I do see that now. I'd have to go back and look at that. For that one.
Well, yeah, as I look at it, I don't know that any of the columns are accurate. Because if it's supposed to equal
So what I
one,
do is I just take the amount that we have for that day and I just divide it by how many calls we take,
right?
is what I was doing.
But what I'm saying is, so each one of these columns, if I'm thinking right, and maybe I'm not, maybe I don't understand
Should
what
add
this
up
is,
to 100%.
should add to 100%.
Unless they're getting categorized in more than one, so if you're taking a credit card. and-
Oh, so it
Yeah,
could be more
But
than
there still
one.
should be
Okay.
none that are more than 100%.
Right, yes, you are correct for that, Don.
Although, if you're logging them in two different categories, you could potentially get over.
Well, yeah, the total could be
Right.
over 100%, but when you have just one column or one row that's
Yeah,
got.
I see what you're saying. So, yeah, so I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
outside of the numbers,
Yeah.
is the way she's organizing the information helpful? I think it does give us a good kind of
Yeah.
insight.
And I'm interested more in trends
Yes,
than I
right.
am.
And so we
I can-
talked about
yeah.
doing something maybe on a semi-annual basis, so we could maybe take a look at all of it together to get more of that trend line. We have that incorporated in our strategic plan.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is
Bar graph, do some sort of.
instead of doing it by week and having columns by week, doing a month at a time or some period of time, and then looking at it over several months. Yeah.
I can do that. And I can send it out and we can kind of go back and forth before we.
I think it's good information.
Just one last thing. So the end date's September 2nd. You,
It's just a week. I just have it.
oh, no, I meant, well, we're mid-October
Oh, yeah,
So-
I just did this one just for an example.
example.
I do have all the
That's,
other ones.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I was just curious. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that was clear.
And this was one she provided for us last meeting, but because the
Yeah.
email changed, not everybody got the information
Okay.
in time for the meeting conversation.
Great.
Yep.
No, yeah, I think this is great to see what people are calling in about and
I think it gives us opportunity to see if there's a spike in something, if there's something we could do about it or to help with.
Do we still have the ability to message questions and things?
On the Pioneer Fiber
Correct.
support side, yes.
Okay. Because I had a fiber question a week or two ago, and I was looking for that, and I ended up calling, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. I did not see a clear and easy way to say, hey, here's my question.
or
Message like
emails.
from the website?
Yeah,
Can you email?
It should have been just once you're out there on that support, it should pop up.
I haven't seen anything. I mean, I take that back. They do email us through support. So we do get questions through utility services.
Are those also included?
No,
Would there be a way to,
I'm not trying to be mean, but this is, I mean, it is good information. It's just a lot of time consuming with just our CR call logs.
Okay.
I don't feel like we get as many emails
as we do phone calls. So a lot of the emails are about their payments. Is what a lot of the emails are. There's probably, I would probably say maybe there's maybe a handful a month that's regarding something different other than if you send them like a payment plan or something like that. But otherwise, as far as just emailing strictly about something else, there's not very many of those.
It's not typical. They would email.
They call.
So it's not gonna really change our trend or anything, but one or two
No.
low, okay, great.
No, I wouldn't say, if it got to be more maybe, but honestly, I don't feel like that's as much to worry about.
Would you say that the emails are related more to the service offering?
They're all just payment. Yeah. If they don't email the complaint, or just talk about how high their usage is or anything like that.
When you say payment, do I email you to say, did you get my payment?
Yeah, sometimes we'll do that. Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, just to make sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for putting this together. I think it's a good start.
Yeah, I think it was good information, and I think as Alicia and I looked through some of these, maybe a little more granularly, I think you always worry about the spikes or what this might be, and, the whatever issues we may have run into. But in general, I mean, payments are the time-consuming part, handling those payments, processing those payments, and most of the calls are for payments, and it was kind of surprisingly little amount of other stuff. Certainly work.
Do we know what percentage of our customers are like set up for automatic payments and that kind of stuff? I'm just curious.
I would have to, I'm not sure off the top. We've got quite a few and more people.
Yeah, I just think if we can drive that, I think
Okay,
that's
we
gonna,
do.
yeah.
When people come in, that's one thing that we do ask them if they are willing to, if
Yeah.
they want to do that or not. Some people just like the control of paying it
I get that.
themselves.
I can be that way too
But I feel like
sometimes.
we're getting more and more, just like email, online e-bills and stuff. I feel like we're getting more people to do that as well, because we do push that too.
Good.
Yeah, the dollar.
Do we provide any discount, like a dollar discount?
Yeah,
Is that
we
what
do
you
dollar,
just said?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thanks, Alicia. Okay. We have the resolution approving an employment contract with Chris. You all had a chance to review that. Any questions, conversation, discussion?
It wasn't actually in the packet though, was that intentional or? Does it need to be in the packet?
No, we've got.
I have a
it,
paper copy. We
We've
can
got
do it.
copies of it here.
I guess I had it, so I didn't even go to see. Does everybody remember seeing it?
Yes.
I was wondering from a public standpoint, does it need to be made public at some point?
We put it with the minutes. Is that public
It
enough?
usually be, I mean,
No.
isn't it always listed?
I mean, it just says that you guys approved it. It's not part of,
I was thinking actually included in the packet.
I wasn't given it, so.
So with it not being in the packet, are we okay to?
Because you have it as an agenda item. Yeah.
Okay. And then your concern is we just haven't made it public. Is there a way we can do that?
My guess is we'll just get inquiries.
If somebody asks, we can provide it.
Yep.
Proof.
Second.
Jackie, will you take roll call, please?
Board Member Voight,
Yes.
Selgrade,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Any other combined electric, water, and communications items?
Don't have anything to say.
Anything from,
Anything above and beyond that happened at meeting, other than our conversation the other day?
Those were just some committee meetings that led to, some of the stuff we discussed. The full meeting is coming up at the.
Oh, okay.
Next month.
Okay.
And those will be the ultimate results and a couple of other items.
we didn't have this on the agenda, but we talked last week that there are potential meetings of the holidays we would not have. We want to actually talk about that so people know as we're trying to get things on the agenda, what meeting we might not have. So Thanksgiving, I think we'd be okay because the following Monday is the second Monday Be what, the 28th, I think is what Chris said.
14th and 28th.
of
Generally,
November.
December or second meeting, we do not have,
And so December would be
but I think that was on
the
that
12th
schedule.
and the 26th.
Was it not?
Is it already that we're not gonna have it?
I thought it was, based on what I saw.
It's not in red. I just want to, we were just talking the other day, so we just want to have a good understanding of,
Because Kristen, did you send something out here?
Yeah, so typically, the 26th would be the second meeting of December, but that is also a holiday, so our offices will be closed.
Okay.
But we also, years past, have not had that second meeting in December because of holiday schedules.
I'm out of town. Yeah. That's not that matters.
I am
but
as well. So I just wanted to make sure we're all kind of thinking the same.
I was planning on, it's not
I'm gonna be in Costa Rica, where are you gonna be?
Vegas.
Okay,
Put together toys.
so one meeting. We're throwing away the boxes. So one meeting in December, both meetings in November. Okay. Perfect. Anything else? Take a motion. So moved. Adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Mike, I'm curious, refresh my memory, where are we at as far as